can record a long time. Literally, as we say that, the Action 4 just overheated. Okay, that is amazing. You could not have planned that if you tried. Like, I feel like I should just show you a picture just to be like, this was real.
Okay, so this is Ray. First of all, who are you?
I am DC Rainmaker, so Rainmaker, DC Rainmaker, and I do sports technology reviews. So everything from action cameras to bike computers to GPS watches, everything in that realm.
Okay, so first thing, Ray, you and I, we test many things, different brands, action cams, sport watches, but we are not ambassadors. We don't work for any company, and of course, we are also users of all these gear, and what I'd like to know is what kind of gear you like to use personally. For instance, when you don't have to test anything and you go out for a bike run, what is your go-to action camera?
Yeah, I think mostly a GoPro, like a Hero 12 for an action camera. But also lately I've been using some of the Insta360 stuff here and there because I love the overlays now that you can do, where it just pulls in from a Garmin watch or an Apple Watch. It pulls in your data automatically and just overlays that. So something that, GoPro used to have kind of like natively, but not anymore. And so having that stuff just there for like cycling power and running speed and all that's just kind of really cool. But I just mix and match a little bit.
Okay. And 360 as well, or only?
No, I don't. I am a begrudging 360 user, so if I have to use it for something, I'll use it like once or twice a year, but I find the workflow isn't worth the output sometimes. Like 360 cameras can do incredible things when you've got just the right shot for it, but otherwise it's just too much work. I just want to be able to know I got the perfect shot, and I really like the quality that you get when you got a clean flat lens. Like, I think 360 look, you can, even when it's really good, you can always tell it's like not one lens, right? It's just got that little bit of imperfections, and I'm probably a little bit of a video snob in that way. So I see that and I'm like, 360 camera, it would have been so much cleaner with a flat camera. But I think slowly but surely 360 cameras are getting more easier to use, and the quality is getting better, that it's becoming maybe more appealing.
Yeah, and about that, I'm very impatient to see what the future GoPro Max 2 will look like, but
yeah, it'll be interesting. They're saying this year, that's what they promised, right? So,
yeah, we'll see.
Yep.
What about drones? Because I know, well, of course, obviously you test all the DJI drones. If you have to go for a hike or whatever, which one would you take?
Like the last few days up in the mountains, I took the Mini 4 Pro.
Yeah, great.
Just it's so lightweight. I can carry 3 batteries. That gets me, with the plus batteries anyways, you're talking 45 minutes a pop. I can recharge it easily somewhere. It's just lightweight. I can fit in anything. That said, for running, if I was doing purely running stuff and I wasn't worried about like big scenic shots somewhere, I would probably go with the Hover X1. The only reason why I didn't take the Hover X1 this time around was there was a couple shots that I knew I needed to get further out, and the Hover X1 can only go like 30 to 40 meters away from you, and that's it. And it's kind of finicky to get that far out. But like for trail running and stuff like that, I wouldn't bother with the DJI. I just go straight for the Hover X1. It's so good for that. Yeah,
and you told me when you were in Madeira a couple of months ago that you had the Hover, right?
Yeah. I stupidly took a lot of drones on that hike. So I did a cross Madeira hike. Took 3 days. It's 100 and something K. Enormous amount of elevation. And I took the Mini 4 Pro, the Mavic 3 Pro, and the Hover.
Wow.
It was a lot of gear. My pack was so heavy because there was a couple shots that I wanted in Madeira that I really wanted the lens of the Mavic 3 Pro.
Okay.
I probably could have got away with the Air, to be honest, the Air 3, but I really wanted like these epic, just really high up, amazing shots, but still like zoomed in to get that kind of parallax effect. And so, that said, at the end of the day, almost every bit of footage I've used came from the Hover.
Okay.
I took some beautiful shots on the other drones, but I very rarely used the footage from it.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. When I reviewed the Hover on YouTube, it was a bit tricky because I tried to say what's good and what's bad about things I review, and this one is so different than the other drones.
Yeah.
I mean, it's quite expensive compared to the image quality.
Yeah.
But then it's really unique in its genre.
It is. Yeah. Yeah. It's tough because it's one of those that you know, people look at something like the new Mini 4K,
yeah.
which is just basically a rebranded, you know, Mini 2, right? At the end of the day, it's just different. In fact, even the shell inside says Mini 2 inside of it. It's hilarious. But that said, you know, you look at the price of that, and like at least in the US, the price is like $250 or $299 or something silly, right? It's in the 200s. I think the same in euros. And yeah, on one hand, that drone, the DJI drone at that price, produces unquestionably better image quality, and it has better flight characteristics and all that kind of stuff, right? You can get those beautiful scenic shots that you want, but it can't do active track. And so if you're doing like sports stuff and you're all about just following me, the hover's just a better choice there, right? It's tough because they're two totally different, like I said, different drones for different purposes, and you kind of got to pick one for different scenarios.
Yeah. And just before we move on to the sport watch, right before we started recording, you told me about the Osmo Pocket 3.
Yep. I've been using that since Madeira, actually, before that. So I guess like 5 months now, I think. I picked it up. I watched all the DJI influencer videos back last fall, and I'm like, I don't know. The main scenario I wanted it for was to be able to get footage of bike computers while I'm riding. Smooth footage, really smooth footage. And it's really tough with the phone. You get too much bounce usually, and it's tough to stabilize that. And mounting something on a bike for bike computers is very difficult. So I was like, let me see if I can make this work, because the original Pocket 1 wouldn't focus correctly on a bike computer. It would focus somewhere else. So I got this finally after like 4 months of kind of having a hawing, and it nails it. It can perfectly do bike computers, but I've since used it as my daily like out and about thing. So if I'm at trade shows like Eurobike, when I was hiking in Madeira, I mean, it was dumping rain for the first day, and I didn't put a special case on it or anything like that. I just hope for the best, and it's been great. And I dropped it, as I was telling you. I was going 40k an hour, hit some railroad tracks, and I just lost my grip on it, and it hit directly on the gimbal upside down. It's got some nice scratches on it, but totally fine.
You personalized the
I personalized it. Yep. It's an amazing tool. It's one of those, like, I've been talking with other friends that are YouTubers like Des of DesFit and Shane Miller of GP Llama, things like that. And once they've seen me using it, they're like, holy cow, that is so useful, especially for trade shows. Like when I was at, or even like events, like I was at the Apple event, WWC, back a few months ago, used it then to shoot all my stuff. I'll use it at the Google event and Apple and stuff like that this fall. It's so easy to use.
Yeah, and also for this scenario, it's they're filming because with the high contrast scene, it's probably the best pocket camera for these kind of tricky situations with the light. It's
super dependable because it doesn't overheat, right? So you don't have like the action camera overheating problem, and then two, it can record a long time. Literally, as we say that, the Action 4 just overheated.
Okay, so maybe I was in 4K 50. I don't think so.
4K 25. That shouldn't have overheated.
Wow,
that's
amazing.
That's tough. That's astounding. I'll move over this way and I'll move the camera a little bit. There we go. That should be good. That is amazing. You could not have planned that if you tried. Like, I feel like I should just show you a picture just to be like, this was real. That's amazing.
Perfect timing.
Yeah.
So now sport watches. I've been gifted watches from Coros, from Sunto, and I have never had any link or exchange with Garmin.
Yeah.
And this is to say that often people think that we wear the brand that we have the best relationship with. And this is not my case. I know it's not yours either. I have no link with Garmin, but I always wear a Garmin watch because it's like the best that suits my needs and what I like.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, I'd say, for day-to-day stuff, like for sporting stuff, the Garmin watches are really hard to beat right now in terms of the features, in terms of just the functionality. Like they're at the point where they're adding so many features, and not just like flaky features, though maybe some are here and there, but just really useful sport features, right? And it's things like Climb Pro if I'm up in the mountains trail running or cycling and stuff like that. That's just super useful. But I think even like the physiological metrics, right? The things like training readiness and HRV status and acute load and all those stuff that you can look at it, and even if you don't believe all the pieces of it, they generally tell a pretty good story of how things are trending, right? I can look at the last few days and be like, yep, that was a lot of load, right? There was a lot of, multi days in a row of 9 hours of cycling a day, right? Like that was, I can see that. So that kind of stuff is good, and it's also dependable too. I think that said, Suunto is doing some amazing stuff lately with their new watches, the Suunto Race, particularly in the Race S. I think they're really kind of coming back a little bit. And it'll be interesting to see if Coros breaks into that AMOLED display realm as well. Right now they've got MIT-based displays, but I think, and then of course on the other side you've got Apple doing good stuff, and good to see them starting to get into the sports side of it with cycling power meter support and now training load at a very kind of basic level. So that's stuff that I think we'll see them iterate more and more. They're not gonna, I think they're finding their spot, right? Where if you looked 2 years ago, it was like, okay, we're gonna be hardcore sports. They're gonna add running efficiency metrics, running power, run dynamics, and cycling power and track mode and all this kind of stuff. And I think now with the training load, we see where they're going, which isn't going to be competing head-to-head with Garmin.
Yeah.
It's going to be competing like one tier down, like mainstream sports stuff, as opposed to the like what you and I would do from endurance sports standpoint.
Okay. Yes, and we'll see in September what Apple has for us.
Yep.
And because I received some questions a couple of days ago on YouTube about the potential new what is it?
It's turning off.
Okay.
We could turn it back on, but it's just going to overheat in a minute anyways.
About the potential new Apple Watch Ultra 3, but
Yep.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Okay, Ray, thanks a lot.
Yeah, no problem.
Before we turn down this video, just a couple of things. As I told you, I saw you used to live in France.
Yep.
How's your French, Ray?
That's tricky one. It's not good. It's tough. That was 5 years ago now. So my French I can order food. I'm good at really I've still ordering food is my thing in French. So I can read a menu in French no problem. I can understand it all. I can understand the conversation and stuff like that. But speaking it is not. I'm not good at speaking it.
Okay.
Understanding it's fine, but speaking it's tough.
Okay. Second tricky question.
Yep.
When I look at your work, both on your website and your videos, it looks like journalism.
Yep.
You're not like normal YouTuber, and this is what inspired me a lot. So thanks for that. But who were you before that?
I worked in technology, so I worked at Microsoft, designing data centers. So I traveled around the world, a new city, a new continent every single week. So I traveled like 300,000 miles a year, basically designing really big data centers for companies and things like that. And so technology is like my background, but that's, I guess that kind of drives towards that very like factual realm of things, right? Like my job, consisted of designing data centers, but also documenting that in a very factual, very like long form kind of way. Right?
Okay.
So kind of, I think it all carries over into what I do now.
Okay, great. And to close this video, can you please do me a favor?
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah. So again, as always, if you find this video useful, entertaining, interesting, or anything at all, you should definitely hit the like button at the bottom there, or subscribe for plenty more sports technology goodness in French, en français.
Thanks a lot, Ray.
Yep. Enjoy.
Great.
Awesome.